just want to start by just, letting you know a little bit about Sachem and where we are. So we're located on Long Island in New York, centrally located. Sachem is the second largest school district on Long Island. We have just under 13,000 students and 15 school buildings. We have 2 high schools, 3 middle schools, and 10 elementary schools. We are a proud working class family that spans over 60 miles. And we have about 6 towns that we encompass, bordering on 2 other school districts. It is quite large. When I go, visit buildings, I can, go from one end of the world to the other, but I love it. Sachem also has really come full center, in terms of our financial state. A couple of years back, unfortunately, we had a hardship with past administration and things that were occurring. And unfortunately, Sachem found itself in a position where they had about $16,000 left in the bank, not sure if they were going to be able to pay their staff. So there was some school closures and redistricting. And when I had started, they were just coming off of that about a year. And so at that time, we had a pretty new administrative team at the cabinet level. And as I said, I came from a little bit of a smaller school district. So coming into Sachem was no small feat, but it was so inspiring, and it was so exciting to think that you could help just polish off a great diamond like Sachem is. Sachem has a lot of pride. It's known for its athletics, its academics, its programs, and you just knew that it had good bones. But most importantly, when I walked around the schools and I met all the teachers and the administrators, they were just great people. They were great people who had just really been through the ringer. They were tired. They just wanted to know that somebody was going to stay and support them and empower them again, and just, remind them of the great professionals that they are. So, now you come to where we are now. This is about 3 years later, and we're in the middle of reentry planning. I find myself in another fun situation here in Sachem. Our superintendent left about 3 months ago and went to a new school district. We also had another assistant superintendent leave to go to another school district. So it's myself and our deputy superintendent who are running the schools at this point and planning for all of the reentry, protocols and plans moving forward for what we're going to do. We have a wonderful board who's very supportive. They're quite new, some of the members as well. And we've been meeting in committees for the past several weeks with staff members, teachers, all sorts of, clerical, custodial staff, also community members, and then students, of course. And over the past few weeks, the one question in our mind is, how are we going to be able to come back? The number one problem for our community, and most communities, I would think, is childcare, right? And the social and emotional well-being of the students. I mean, our kiddos have been out, just like everybody else's here in New York, for well over 7 months. And all children, but you think especially about those children who are at risk for whatever reason, or special needs, or English language learners. It's been really hard and tough on them. And I don't think anybody would say that distance learning has been 100% perfect. It's been really challenging. And especially for us, when I talk about our financial issues that we had in the past, we were not a one-to-one district. We did not have technology in the hands of every student. And quite frankly, we're in the middle of upgrading our Wi-Fi here in district. So we really, in the span of 3 weeks, were able to get onto Google Classroom across the entire school district and at least get into the hands of every family one device, so that we knew if they didn't have any at all, we were able to provide that. But again, I go back to where we are now. Our number one goal is to try and get all of the students back in the fall. It's going to really heavily weigh on what our Governor Cuomo's decision is next week. But we're planning for 3 different types of models. We're planning for full return with social distancing practices, either a hybrid model where we might be able to bring back the elementary students, but maybe the secondary students would be on an A-B day schedule, so that we can disperse our elementary students a little bit if we had to. And then if we were told, then we would remain on distance learning and just really up our game by making sure that we have more live teaching on Google Meet. This is a hardship for us. It's definitely a hardship. It's kind of like building the airplane in the air without knowing exactly what you're able to do. On top of that, our New York State Education Department has asked us to submit our plans without really knowing what we're going to be permitted to do by the state. So it's very confusing times for our community. It's frustrating as an administrator, certainly as a teacher and a staff member, but I feel it's my job to just make sure that I'm the cheerleader. You know, we're going to get through this, just like we do with everything else. It doesn't matter our size, every district is going through it. We just have to really make sure that we look at what are the bottom line things that we must have in place. We must make sure that our students are safe, our staff is safe, we have proper hygiene, we have curriculum that's equivalent and appropriate for all students, technology in the hands of each family. But most importantly, we have to make sure that when the kids return that they're happy. You know, it can't feel like a jail cell, and it can't certainly feel like not school. So, you know, those are the things that, you know, we're really working on. And this week, I'm actually starting to go around to all the buildings with each individual principal to just make up some sample classrooms, see if we really just take out everything and we just have the desks and we open up all the windows. We take some of that furniture and bring it outside to build outdoor classrooms. We start teaching a little bit more around our gardens outside. Will that help? And will that, you know, ensure that we can come back? We are fortunate here in New York, where we were a really hot spot for, you know, all of the COVID cases. It's kind of turned around on us. So now we're at the point where we're really at a low, but people are nervous. They're nervous of that spike again. They're nervous of, you know, if we do return, will we have to leave again? So you have to be prepared no matter what the decision is for the fall, to be able to fluidly move between those three models. You know, again, I go back to the fact that we're still looking for a new superintendent, and in the midst of everything else going on, you know, interviewing for all of that, making sure that we have the right administrators in all the different buildings, different staff members that have retired, and we have a lot of staff members and families that are concerned about even returning no matter what. So it's a lot of what ifs, and I'm sure anybody who's listening or watching is probably having those same you know, issues where they are. But I just keep coming back to, you know, taking lemons and turning it into lemonade. After all of this is done, I think the greatest part about it is going to be, you know, being able to really reimagine schools and what that will look like, because we certainly will never go back to the way that we were traditionally operating. A lot of the pros that I saw out of the whole pandemic is students that were at risk, not really engaged, who really enjoyed now utilizing more technology in place, and just having that, you know, implemented more live interaction with their teachers. You know, those are the things that I hold on to, because it really could make you a little bit crazy, could make you a little bit tired, overwhelmed. But, you know, that's our charge. And I love being a school leader. I've always found it to be something that, well, I didn't necessarily think that this was what my passion was when I first started as an educator. Just somewhere along the lines, you know, someone taps you on the shoulder. What do you think about it? What do you think about it? And I go back to what I said about my mentor, you know, Joe Rella. It's not about the curriculum. It's not about the mandates. It's just being there for people and making sure that they feel like, you know, someone's got their back. And here in Sachem, we're a very family orientated, very team orientated school district. And that's a huge strength for us. And I think that's how I know we'll get past and through the pandemic successfully for our students and our community.